So we've got some quite tough questions here. All right, you enjoy these. I like these questions. Need to think about them a little bit. They're not straightforward. And again, like we've done before, pause, play as you go through. Right? If you think you've got the idea, have a go at the next question. If you're not sure, work it through with myself. All right. But just see how you get on. Okay. It might look confusing to start off with. So we've got lots of things here that we don't know. Alright, so it's not a typical kind of question. There are some red counters and some blue counters in the bag. Basically what's happening here is that we got red, blue, and then two counters are taken out. So the best thing that I can do here is I'm going to sketch myself a tree diagram, show what's going on. Red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. Now, the probability that both the counters taken are blue is 1 over 20. So therefore, I know that this one times this one is equal to 1 over 20. That's what I know from my kind of sort of straightforward tree diagram stuff that we've done so far. Now I need to think about what these guys are. This is where the tricky bit is. Now it tells me here the ratio of red counters to blue counters is 3 to 1. So that means basically the probability of getting a red counter is 3 out of 4. The probability of getting a blue counter is 1 over 4. Now, I'm sure kind of quite a few of you would have probably got that a little bit. Now, this is where kind of the trick comes in to allow us to do this question, because I don't know, annoyingly, I don't know exactly how many reds and blues there are. For instance, there might be 6 and there might be 2. There might be 9, there might be 3. There might be 12, there might be 4. Right, you get the idea. I don't know. So what we're going to do is we're going to chuck in a letter just here. And watch what this is going to enable me to do. Let's just imagine that if that was 5, then this would be 15 over 20. This would be 5 over 20. Okay, so it's the same thing. I don't know what that is, but watch how it's going to work. I'm interested in this one down here. So we take a counter out. So imagine I've taken a blue one out. How many blues have I now got left? Well, if I had x over 4x, that would mean I've got x minus 1 blues left. At any point, just pause it. If you think you've suddenly got it, pause it and see what happens. Take away 1. Right, now I know it looks a little bit confusing, but what do we know? We know that this times this equals this. Alright? So again, if you might be unsure about this part here, that's alright. Well, now I've told you this, maybe try and do the next part. So, what do we know? We know that this multiplied by this part is equal to 1 over 20. Now, this is where I can effectively just get rid of that x there, okay? It doesn't need to be there because that's going to cancel out. X divided by x is 1. We just put it in as a little dummy just so we can get this idea over here. Right, how do I progress from here? Well, if I multiply both sides by 4, okay, and that's going to make this 1/5. There we are. So x minus 1, 4x minus 1. Let's make sure that you can see everything that I'm doing. Now, multiply both sides by 5, multiply both sides by 4x minus 1. So that gives us 5x minus 5. Now these are good questions because they combine so many different skills. Take away x from both. Take away 4x from both sides. There we go. Add 5 to both sides. Oops. Couldn't do that, could I? It's going to be 4 maybe. Alright. There we go. So x equals 4. So how many counters... Oh, don't forget to answer the question. How many counters were in the bag before any counters were removed? So if x is 4, so we've just worked this out, that means that would be 4 times 4, 4 times 4. So actually, the answer to our question was 16 counters. Okay, so don't forget to actually answer the question. All right, yeah. And like I said, I like these questions because they combine lots and lots of different things. Right, so I'm going to do another question for you. So let's have a look at question 2. And again, if you think you're okay with it, then just have a go. All right, because it's very similar sort of question. Right, so here we are. So there are some red counters and blue counters. So same things happening here. So we've got red, we've got blue, and in fact, all of these questions, once you get this idea, are all quite similar. They just look a little bit scary. Right, what are we told here? There are some red counters and some blue counters in the bag. The ratio of red counters to blue counters is 4 to 1. So that means 4/5, 1/5. But we're going to kind of dummy that. 2 counters removed from the bag at random, so let's call that X, 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 X. The probability that both counters taken are red, so that's that one. So now we need to think, I need to try and express this one here. So if 1's taken out, how many red counters would be left? There would be 4x minus 1. How many counters would be left altogether? 5x minus 1. Okay, so now that's something I could go and write this in for the other ones, but actually this is where I'm interested. Right? I could write expressions down here, but this is the bit I'm actually interested in, is up here. So I know that this multiplied by this equals this. So 4x over 5x multiplied by 4x minus 1 over 5x minus 1 equals 22 over 35. Now, like we did on the last one, these guys don't really need to be there. All right. And what we can also do is we could multiply both sides by 5 and divide by the 4. All right. So I know I'm doing the fractions bit a little bit quick. So if I multiply by 5, so 22 times 5 over 35 times 4. And so that will give me 4x minus 1, 5x minus 1 equals, well, that's going to be 7, so it's going to be 22 over 28, like that. That's also going to be 11 over 14. Okay, just to save me writing it out again, right? Now, what do we need to do? We need to multiply by this, multiply by this. All right. So 4 times 14, 28, 56, 56x. Take away 14 equals, multiply this by 11, 55x, take away 11. Take away 55x on both sides. Plus minus 11. Add 14 to both sides. So x equals 3. How many blue counters are in the bag? Actually, that's the answer. Right? That's what we've just worked out. Right? That's that bit just there. All right. So there we go. That's good. Right then. So let's have. If I put number 3 in, how many have we got on this section all together? All right. So if I put number 3 in this one as well. So let's have a go at question 3. I'm trying to do these. I've not actually done these questions before, so you can actually see me thinking the question through at the same time. All right. So I deliberately didn't do these questions before because I wanted you to see that. So what do we got here? So, don't like the look at this. 5 red counters, why blue counters in the bag? Let's just have a look, see what's happening. It looks like, yep, 2 counters being taken out again. Let's take so right here. She puts the counter back. So that's actually making life a little bit easier for us. So we got red, we got blue, we got red, we got blue, we got red, we got blue. And which bit are we interested in? We're actually only interested in this top section because it tells me Imogen takes probability that the first counter Imogen takes is red and the second counter Imogen takes is red is 1/9. So therefore, that's that bit. To be honest, I'm really not interested in this stuff down here. The only bit I'm interested in is up here. And it's made it slightly easier because they go back. So, what's the probability of getting a red counter? Well, there's 5 red counters. How many counters are there altogether? There's 5 red ones and Y blue ones. So there's 5 plus Y. Now, the other thing that we know about this is that the counter goes back. So therefore, that's exactly the same. There we go. So this one multiplied by this one equals this. There we go. So that's now just created an equation for us to solve. So let's just write it down. Again, I'm going to remind you, if you think you can finish it from here, then go for it. So 25. Just be a little bit careful here, right? It's 5 plus y times 5 plus y. Imagine kind of brackets around that. So 5 times 5 is 25. And obviously I'm going to have a y squared in there as well, but I'm also going to have plus 10y. Alright, don't forget, lots of people here, they write 25 and then they write the y squared and they forget about that. Alright, so, and then we know that that's equal to 1/9. So this bit can come up here and then we can multiply by the 9 as well. Okay, so 9 times 25 is 225. And then it was a little bit nice to us, this question, because there's a 1 there. It would have just been a little bit awkward if that wasn't a 1, so we can just take that up. I'm just going to reorder it. So we got y squared plus 10y plus 25. Not messing about with any signs there, that's fine. Now, we've got a quadratic. We're going to solve our quadratic. We make it equal to 0. Take away 225 from both sides. Y squared plus 10y minus 200. And then we need to have a look to see if we can factorise. Now, these questions will normally factorise for us. Now, that's a negative, so one's a plus, one's a negative. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply together to give me 200 and add together to give me 10. Now, if you're not sure, just list out your factors of 200. Right, there you go, I'm not really sure. So 2 and 100, 3, 4, 5. So, I don't know, let's try, we got 10 and 20. Maybe I could have just spotted that straight away. A bit embarrassed I didn't spot that straight away, to be honest with you. So 20 and 10. If I multiply that out, it's gonna give me that bit there. So that's equal to 0. So y would have to equal, it can't be minus 20, because in the context of the question that doesn't make sense. And quite often you'll get one of those. There'd be an answer to reject. So to really get all the marks there, I really should say, so y equals, but cannot be negative. Okay, so y cannot be a negative answer. All right, so I'm going to put the solutions to the other ones in the in a different clip for you. Okay, otherwise this one would be probably a little bit too long. All right, so remember the idea. Just keep following through, pause, play as you go through. All right, and that's absolutely fine to go and do that. All right, so well done with those, and let's have a go at the next few questions.